Hi, I'm Steph Ritz with Voice Your Passions, and today I'm here with Amie Leadingham talking about conscious communication. Amie, the dating coach, is a master certified life and relationship coach. She has a conscious dating program where she empowers singles to be their best selves and to attract what they want in their life. I personally believe that communication is communication, and that relationships, whether it's romantic or business, all need clear and conscious communication in order to really be successful and to build up both sides of the relationship to find that strength. And so I invited Amie to come here and to share her expertise with us. So welcome, Amie.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So Amie, well, can you share what it is that you do? And I'd love it if you shared a story of something that was really surprising that you learned along the way to conscious communication.
Absolutely. I help people become strong and self-empowered, and I help them get what they want out of relationships. My mission is to help each person, one relationship at a time, make the world a better place, by teaching them how to consciously understand what they require, need, and want in their relationships, in their lives, and communicate that, because so few of us were taught this when we were younger. We were just, looking at our parents' relationships going, well, that's how it goes. And if we're not taught this, the cycle is going to be never ending, and we're going to make choices based on other people's opinions, judgments, and not really what we want. So I help you step into that self-awareness and own it so that you can get the life and love you want. And as far as stories go, what really brought me to conscious communications is understanding my non-negotiables in life, in relationships. I think back in the past when I was looking for a career, I guess I was kind of conscious in this process because I struggled just like all the ladies out there, all the men out there for a long time. And it was because I didn't understand what I really needed to make me happy. But there was one part of me that did understand, and it was back in when I was interviewing for jobs. And I remembered I would come in with a list of things, and I would sit there and I would communicate what I required in order for me to be happy in any type of career path that I was choosing. So one of my non-negotiables, I had this manager ask me, he said, what would you prefer? Would you prefer recognition or money? And I said to him, freedom. I wanted to set the tone that in order for me to be happy in this company, I need you to trust me and allow me to be me and have that myself. And I promise you, I will work so hard. I remember saying that to him. And because of that, my relationship with my manager was amazing. And when I needed to take time off for vacations, he would do that. So I realized that without communicating that, I don't think I would have gotten that from my manager. And that's when I realized conscious communication is so important.
Yeah, so what I'm hearing is that it's not just about what you want, it's really about bringing forward what it means to you and what just being aware of what you truly want in life. And what I heard from you, that one of your core beliefs is really freedom, that's one of your non-negotiables, that if you don't have freedom, then it's not worth it to you. I love how you ask people, in order to move forward, that to be their best selves, and then to continue to constantly ask questions to see if whatever step forward it is, if it's aligned with you. I love that that's one of those practices that you bring forward. But in knowing and being aware of it, so I'm curious what brought you to this path in the first place. Was there a certain experience you had or a moment that brought you here?
Well, I had this client that I sat in front of, and I was taught so many different core beliefs, right? You have, when you go into corporate, in marketing, they have you do all this training. And I did like the Myers-Briggs training. So there was like different personality types that you're in front of. So there's a psychology to approaching a conversation with the person in front of you. And I had to implement that. What brought me, I was taught there's a driver, there's a analytic, there's all sorts of different types of personality. And I would go in and try to read the person. I'm like, oh, they have pictures on the walls. That means that they're a driver. And so this lady, I walked in thinking that she was like a person that's a driver, but just that was her core personality. I was totally thrown off. She was a driver, but she was also, the way she approached things were so short and so forward. I was so used to being told, you have to tell a story, you have to do this, you have to do that. I threw everything I learned out the door, and I just sat in front of her. And I remember listening to her. She's like, please stop with the story. I don't like it. Please stop right now. And she says, just tell me why you're here and what you want. And I just stopped for a minute. I said, okay, you know what? I'm just going to meet her where she wants me to meet her. So I did exactly what she said. I did not think I was going to make the sale at all. It was a $25,000 sale. And I gave her the proposal. At the end of it, she said, love it. Where do I sign? And I made the sale. I was shocked. She was so cold, not showing 1 ounce of uninterested. And I realized at that point that we have to meet people where they're at, and we have to express what we need and want to them. And they'll meet us where we're at too. And that's a happy place. So we both were happy.
Yeah, it's that concept of, well, we know that communication isn't just talking, it's listening too. But there's a difference between just listening for what you expect them to say and listening to what they're actually saying and meeting them at their space where they're at. And I'm curious if there's like one specific person that you've found yourself really looking up to, because what I'm hearing you say is that, you know, at one point you weren't all that conscious, right? That there was some other stuff going on in your life. So was there someone that you really looked up to or something that changed that for you?
Yeah, I mean, when I first started coaching, and this was like 3 years ago, I wanted to be around coaches. I came from the corporate world and it's totally different. So I started a meetup, and I invited a bunch of different people along the way. And I met this amazing person, and she's still my friend. Her name's Emily. She's a psychologist. And I could tell that she was really self-aware and conscious. She just seemed so grounded in herself. And I would always ask her, you know, I have this issue about leaning into like discomfort for my business. I'm really worried about, you know, making a mistake or impressing everyone and worrying. The one thing that she introduced me to, which was amazing, was Brene Brown. And Brene Brown teaches you about vulnerability. She teaches you about leaning into discomfort. She teaches you about owning who you really are and stepping into your authentic self. And that it's really about the message that you're bringing to the world. And guess what? Your ass is going to get kicked sometimes when you're out there putting your message out in the world, and it's okay. So don't be scared. And she's been my mentor, my role model, and I live by her processes. And by the way, she's like a recovering perfectionist, and I am too. So her stories and mine really align. So I just adore her. And if you guys don't know her, please go look at her book, Daring Greatly and Gifts of Imperfection. Just to let you know, she's awesome.
Sweet. Yeah. She has such a grounded, calm way of communicating that it has you lean in almost. And it's interesting because what I find has me leaning in the most is her authenticity, is that pure vulnerability that she shares with the person on the other side who's watching her, speaking to her, or listening and learning from her. And so I'm curious if you had such a beautiful role model to follow, was there something that was really difficult for you? Like, what was it that you needed to break out of in order to come here, to get to the point of helping heal the world in the way they communicate through consciousness?
Well, thinking back, my parents, they came here, and they came here with nothing. So achievement was really important to them. And their friends definitely were the same way. So, took on about other people's opinions, judgments around you have to achieve in order to be successful and happy. I didn't really understand what I wanted. And it really reflected in the type of friends I had, the type of boyfriends I pulled into my lives. It actually attracted a lot of takers. And I didn't understand why this was happening in my life. And I knew something was wrong. There was an intuitive feeling that there was something wrong. And as so many people had told me, I actually had 7 friends throughout my lifetime say, you need to do landmark, you need to landmark. So I finally broke down. I'm like, screw it. After my horrible last relationship, my ex-boyfriend, I'm like, I'm done with these takers. I need to go in and do some work on myself.
What's landmark?
What'd you say?
What is landmark?
Landmark is, I guess it's a personal growth community, and there's classes you take, and it's really about understanding accountability, creating self-awareness, and then also giving you the tools so that you can step into, now that you're aware of who you are, what do you and what kind of life do you want to live? So when I walked out of that weekend with them, it changed my life. I remember being so miserable, and I'm only saying this in a good way. I was just so miserable because I realized, I'm like, oh my gosh, I've been so bad. I have not taken accountability for anything. And but I also did this because of the self-awareness. It taught me to, wow, now that I know this, what can I do to take accountability? And who can I call to apologize to? Who can I call? What can I do to give back? And, I found myself, judging the people around me. And I realized I just started becoming more self-aware and saying, I'm coming from a place of compassion. I'm lucky enough that I actually did the work on myself. Some of these people don't even know that they have to do this work. They have no idea. And that's what really brought me to become a relationship coach, because with this mindset, when I started taking accountability, I started making conscious choices. And he's my best friend, and he's the relationship that I thought I never would get, that didn't exist. And I realized I have gold here. I need to help people get from where I was at to where I am now. And that's what brought me to relationship coaching.
Nice. I love that you mentioned accountability, how you weren't taking accountability for your experiences, and the minute that you really do, it's amazing how your perspective shifts from trying to ask everyone to tell you that you're worthy of their attention to providing so much value that they can't help but want to be around you. And it's so interesting to hear about how all of this marketing background that you had and the studies into the psychology of enrollment and sales, how all of that shaped you to become a dating coach.
Who would have known?
How come you brought all of this consciousness into dating? Why was that so important to you?
Because I feel like we're taught to do what society tells us. We're taught to, through marketing, through what our friends, the peer pressure, media, everything is telling us what to do. But no one's ever stopped and said, hey, what do you want? What do you think you require to be happy in a relationship? And have you ever asked for it? Have you given yourself permission to ask for it? And I don't think anyone tells you that you actually have the opportunity to do that. You can do that for yourself in every facet of your life. It doesn't matter if it's work, your friendships, your relationships with your parents, your family. I mean, and boyfriend and husband and wife, but just slowing down and being able to own that and allowing yourself to just embrace it. I mean, that's really what this is all about, is about letting you voice yourself.
Yeah, and voice your passions.
Yes.
So on that note, if people want to learn more about conscious communication specifically and how important it is within relationships of their life, how might they go about getting in contact with you, Amie?
Yes, come visit me at my website, amiethedatingcoach.com, and it's spelled AMIE. I actually have a guidebook on 5 dating traps that are keeping you single, and it's really coming from a place of fear versus, letting things fall in your lap and choose you. So I would love to meet you, and if you want to have a conversation, just reach me there.
Beautiful. And then if you liked what we have, give it a like, share it, and then comment and tell us what one of your takeaways from today's chat is. Again, I'm Steph Ritz with Voice Your Passions, and I really appreciate you all tuning in to check out what it means to be a conscious communicator and to really clearly stand up for yourself and your needs in the way you live your life. Thanks, Amie. Thank you,
Thanks,
everyone.
Steph. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.